this episode of the F1 Chat, JB and Phil discuss the Australian Grand Prix, the Chinese Grand Prix, Liam Lawson, McLaren, Red Bull, and Eddie Jordan. All that and more on the F1 Chat. Hello out there in Internet Land. This is episode 2 of the 2025 season of the F1 Chat. I am your host, Phil Lamington. Seated to my left is a man he's not getting sick of that joke. But he's a very happy man. It's JB. JB, how are you, my friend?
I'm absolutely fantastic a fortnight into the season, mate. I'd celebrate with a nice cerveza crystal too if they sold it here. Might just have to settle for some champagne, I think.
It's a 4X.
Champagne showers, as the boys in Papaya have been experiencing.
Yeah, they've done all right. They've done all right the last couple of weeks. Jesus Christ. I swear I'm breathing in an iron lung, eh? Yeah, they've done all right the first 2 races of the season, and I don't want to say they're blitzing the competition, because I think that unfairly portrays the rest of the teams on the grid, or at least the top 4 teams.
It's closer than it looks.
Yeah, well, you know.
They've picked up where they left off last year.
Yeah.
But it's closer than it looks, despite the results, which we'll get to.
I think the Australian F1, though, that was the motoring equivalent of potpourri.
Oh, look, with, had Oscar stayed on the island, and we'll get to it, we could be talking about 2 back-to-back McLaren 1-2s here. Probably 2 back-to-back Oscar Piastri wins.
Yeah.
But them's the breaks. And Lando's managed to hold on today, speaking of.
Yeah.
So, we're on.
All right. So, this is the double episode, so we're going to talk about the Australian F1 from a week ago, and then we're going to talk about the Chinese sprint race, and then the Chinese Grand Prix that we just finished watching about an hour ago. So we'll start off with the Australian Grand Prix, which was a very wet Melbourne Grand Prix. It was very Melburnian, the weather. Very Melburnian. Anyone who thinks Cyclone Alfred hit there or something. Oh, wait, it's not the great state of Brisbane.
Oh, bet the, Melbourne freaked out less about that rain than Brisbane did about theirs. Yeah. The old tropical low.
We had more rain here and in
Melbourne would have just been, put your brolly up, mate. Yeah. Throw your poncho on and put your umbrella up.
The worst thing was the sun came out by the final lap.
Yeah. There you go.
4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
All right. Australian GP, take it away.
Yeah, there was a Formula 2 race as well, but dearly departed, not here Longhorn. I didn't want to step on his toes, and also I missed it. Yeah, there was also a Formula 3 race as well. I could tell you the Formula 2 feature race was cancelled due to rain, as was the Supercars race. Yeah. But in the big leagues, at the big roulette table, the 2025 Louis Vuitton Australian Grand Prix on the formation lap, Isaac Hadjar spins his racing bull. The rookie in tears as his debut race ends before it starts. Smashed backwards into the barrier, wrote the car off, and that was him. Lap 1, Lando Norris starts on pole position alongside McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri at a wet Albert Park. Max Verstappen gets around the outside of Oscar Piastri for P2 on the opening lap, as hometown racer Jack Doohan lights up the rear tyres of his Alpine on the damp, wet line and spins into the barriers. His race ended just half a lap in. Carlos Sainz also crashes out on his Williams debut. Carlos blaming a power surge mid-corner. The brake traction, the safety car is deployed. Lap 5, Liam Lawson, Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon pit for new intermediates as the safety car cycles through the pit lane. along with the rest of the field. Lap 8, Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda are noted for safety car infringements off the restart. They dropped too far back, but I don't think either of them got penalised. Lap 12, race control enabled DRS despite the track being greasy offline, because we want some racing, damn it. Lap 16, Kimi Antonelli spins in his Mercedes, but he misses the walls and continues. Lap 17, Max Verstappen makes a mistake, locking a brake and skating straight on down the escape road as Oscar Piastri climbs into second place. Lap 34, Fernando Alonso spins coming out of turn 7, his Aston Martin slamming into the wall rear first, the safety car deployed. The field pits for slick tyres as the track begins to dry out. The McLaren's on hards and Max Verstappen going on mediums. Lap 44, Gabriel Bortoletto is handed a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe release in the pit lane. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri slide off the track in the final 2 corners as the rain comes down heavy. Lando Norris dives into the pits for intermediate tyres as Max Verstappen continues on into the lead, still on wets. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri slides off into the grass, falling to the back of the pack, but manages to reverse the McLaren off the grass and narrowly escape being bogged. Lap 46, Max Verstappen pits for intermediate tyres as Lando Norris takes the lead off Lewis Hamilton, who stayed out on hards. Gabriel Bortoletto and Liam Lawson spin out in the trying conditions. Charles Leclerc spins but rejoins as the safety car is deployed again. And then eventually, lap 57, Oscar Piastri pulls off an awesome move in the back chicane to recover to 9th position from the back of the field, past Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Antonelli is handed a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe release that was later rescinded. And at the front, Lando Norris wins the Australian Grand Prix, just holding off Max Verstappen, while George Russell pops onto the podium for 3rd place.
In 4th place was Kimi Antonelli. In 5th place was Alex Albon. For all the people watching on YouTube, don't be fooled by the graphic, because the F1 just decided they weren't going to fix it. I can't believe I'm going to say this. In 6th place was Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. How did he not bin it? How?
He didn't bin it, and Fernando did.
Yeah.
Go figure.
7th place was Nico Hulkenberg in the Kick Sauber. 8th place was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. 9th place was Oscar Piastri in the McLaren. And 10th, rounding out the points, was Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. Now, in those conditions, what a drive from Lando Norris.
Well, yeah, I mean, what a drive by Lando Norris, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Oscar was coming for him, but, you know.
Then they both went off at that corner.
They both went off at the corner, but the crucial thing was Lando got back on the track about 100 metres before Oscar did.
Yeah.
And all Oscar did was just slide off the track with no grip, while Lando still had enough grip in his tyres to stay on the island and ultimately probably won him the race because Oscar was coming for him.
Yeah.
Was able to get in, box for the Inters, just held off Max. You know, The rain was definitely the great equaliser. I think the Red Bull was a lot closer to the McLaren than it maybe would have been in a dry race, but there you go.
Yeah. All right, so... Jesus. So we're going to go over the key drivers.
Yeah.
There's a photo of the key drivers.
The two keyest drivers that we've ever seen.
Yep. So the first key driver was Max Verstappen.
Yeah,
like he
drove
really well in a car that clearly is problematic.
The car's problematic, but it was his sort of conditions.
And
it was wet. People were gambling on Inters or Slicks. Slicks or Inters at the end when the rain came back. It's what he excels in, and credit to him, like, maybe 2 or 3 more laps, you never know. He was only a second or so away from Lando.
He showed that that's why he is the world champion. It was a world-class drive.
He was out driving the car, absolutely.
Next key driver was George Russell.
Yeah?
Solid race.
Always seems to pick up the scraps when something goes wrong. He's popped himself on the podium again at someone else's, demise. In this case, Oscar Piastri's, and, but credit to him.
Yeah.
he was there when it counted.
Yeah. Next key driver was Alex Albon in the Williams.
Yeah.
Solid drive. Got that Williams where it needed to be. Got 10 points because he finished 5th.
Yeah.
Same with Kimi Antonelli.
On debut. 4th place. 4th place after it was restored. It was taken away and then given back.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal drive from the kid.
Yeah.
On debut, finished just behind his teammate. Awesome. I think he started about 14th or 15th as well.
Because I can tell you, up to that point, Kimi Antonelli had not impressed me.
Oh, once he found his groove though. Holy.
My next key driver was Hulkenberg.
Yeah?
Getting in the top 10 in the kick Sauber.
In the Sauber, which did not look as bad as I thought it was going to look.
Yeah. It was surprised the hell out of me. It beat both the Ferraris.
It did. I think there was a lot of...
Luck.
It's like round 1 of rugby league, you know. You don't know where everyone stands, you know.
Yeah.
You get some shock results and you get some... You know, especially in the rain. In the rain, you know. Whoever got the setup right or wrong. You know, whoever's better at driving these cars in the rain than others. You know, it's the great equaliser.
Or more to the point, whoever got the strategy right.
Whoever pitted at the right time. Exactly, because there are a lot of drivers on that second rain shower that had to go around again that cost them position, you know, Lewis especially.
Yeah.
You know, so...
And my final key driver was Lance Stroll.
Well...
He kept it on the road and he didn't kill anyone.
He kept it on the island, he scored points. Meanwhile, his more experienced teammate beached it.
Hey.
There you go. Lance Stroll is on that list. For once. Good on him.
Jesus.
Speaking of rough starts of the year.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I did have COVID at the start of the year. I don't think I've fully recovered. But next thing is the helmet drivers. There's the return of the PK kick.
The PK kick is back.
The PK kick is back. First driver. And you're going to crucify me with this. I put Oscar Piastri. Because of him losing it on that corner and then having to engage a bit of Clarkson's Farm tractor action to get it off.
I feel like the fact that he got it out of there when all hope was lost.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like he doesn't deserve to be on that list.
Okay.
How'd he just bend it for no reason with his... I would have... Okay.
Yeah.
He should have been better than that.
Yeah.
But he got it back. Like, it was an unlucky mistake.
Yeah.
I think watching the footage back, he would have realised he should have got back on the track where Lando did instead of trying to cut through the gravel trap a bit more and losing heat and picking up dirt and all of the above.
My next guy, I think the same thing might apply, is Lewis Hamilton.
I think it was just
a bad strategy call.
Is that Ferrari or is that Lewis?
Well, yeah. I've got to put someone on the list.
That's true. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that crashed out of this race that you can put on the list.
Don't worry. The next two are prime candidates.
The list should be rather extensive.
Next driver, and we're going to see him a lot on this list, is Liam Lawson.
Yeah.
He fucking deserves to be on this list. Like, it's just...
There may be a changing of the guard of who gets the memoriam of this list this year.
Yeah.
If his start of the year is anything to go by.
And the other guy on the list was Isaac Hadjar.
Yep.
I have to say this, though. Isaac Hadjar, he binned it on the formation lap. And he was visibly upset. Like, he was bawling his eyes out. Helmut Marko said that it was embarrassing. But credit...
Says Helmut Marko, who's never achieved anything in his fucking life.
But I will give credit to Lewis Hamilton's dad. Anthony Hamilton. Because once Hadjar came into the backstage area, the
paddock.
The paddock, he put his arm around him and said, "You're okay, mate," and just calmed him down and tried to get the photographers to bugger off. And for me, I'm not the biggest Lewis Hamilton fan, but that showed the class of his dad. For me.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
He just showed that paternal instinct.
Yeah.
You know, to go and to meet with the kid, and lo and behold, a weekend later, and we'll get to it.
Yeah. He came alive.
He bounced back very well.
Yeah. So,
We haven't put Carlos Sainz on the list.
no, well, I mean, that was a power.
Look, if Carlos's was an accident, an incident, then
Yeah.
so was Oscar's.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to put people on the list.
You got to make the list.
For me, I probably would go with Liam Lawson.
It's got to be Lawson. Just
It's just
they
not,
got rid.
they
They
got
got
rid of.
rid of Sergio Perez, and they've got someone who's way less talented than I thought. Although the Red Bull is a worse car this year,
Yeah,
like as the next race will show.
yeah.
I know the Red Bull's not good, and it's probably still rather suited to Max, but for all the shit you talked coming into the year, and I said it on the preseason episode, you called him an alpha. I said, well, he can be an alpha all he wants. He can talk the talk, but he's got to walk the walk. And
Frankly,
here we are, a
he's,
fortnight into the season, and he's halfway through the 1,000 book of excuses.
yeah, he's not even walking the walk. He's in a fucking wheelchair pushing himself around.
Yeah,
Like,
he's halfway through F1's big book of excuses as to why I can't come to grips with the car.
yeah,
And it's been 2 races.
we'll get to that a bit soon. But we're just going to go over the drivers' ratings at the end of the Australian Grand Prix. So in 10th was Lewis Hamilton with 1 point, Oscar Piastri 9th with 2, Charles Leclerc 8th with 4, Hulkenberg in 7th with 6 points, Lance Stroll in 6th with 8 points, Kimi Antonelli had 12 points because Albon got bumped back down to 5th.
Correct. That was
so-
rescinded. So it's Alex Albon in 5th with 10
10 points. Antonelli in 4th with 12. George Russell in 3rd with 15. Max Verstappen in 2nd with 18. Lando Norris on 1st with 25. And the constructors, McLaren and Mercedes are tied for 1st on 27 points. Red Bull is in 3rd with 18. Williams is in 4th with 10. Aston Martin in 5th with 8, Kick Sauber in 6th with 6, Ferrari in 7th with 5, Alpine, Racing Bulls and Haas all tied with 0. So then we move to the Chinese F1 sprint
Yes.
race.
I feel like we sort of a shame as a doubleheader because the Melbourne Grand Prix was such a dramatic and intense opening to the season.
Yeah.
People were crashing, like rookies were crashing, yeah, cool. Experienced hands were crashing. You know, they all went to hards and it's like, oh, it's done, and the rain comes back at the end. The McLarens nearly beat it. Both McLarens nearly throw it away.
And Lewis and Charles felt the full force of wrath of the Ferrari strategy department.
Yep.
You know, even Lewis
Don't
Hamilton.
press the K1 button.
Yeah, fucking Lewis
Use the
Hamilton.
K1 some more.
Lewis Hamilton's probably sitting there going, Christ, I miss Bono right now.
Oh, man, he would have been crying. He'd be like, where's Bono?
I bet you the briefing would have been, mate, shut up.
What's Italian for shut up? You told me the Italian for hammer time, and you told me that the K1's draining. It's like, I know how to use a power unit. I'm a 7-time world champion. Did someone forget to tell him that he's a 7-time world champion? Or
Channeling his inner Kimi Räikkönen.
I've won more races and more championships than your number one driver will ever win. You know? To quote the great Kimi Räikkönen, shut up. I know what I'm doing.
Leave me alone. I know how to drive the car. Don't tell me how to drive the car.
Correct. Although I do believe this weekend it was swiftly rectified.
It was. So,
Speaking of,
sprint race.
2025 Heineken Chinese Grand Prix sprint race, because they didn't wait long to throw a sprint race in.
Mm-hmm.
Lap 1. Speaking of, Lewis Hamilton starts on pole position alongside Max Verstappen. That's a throwback. Lewis Hamilton holds off Max to get the whole shot as Lando Norris gets a horrible start, dropping down to 9th as he clips the dirt. George Russell gets past Charles Leclerc for 4th. Liam Lawson dive bombs Jack Doohan for 18th. Lap 12, Carlos Sainz pits for another set of tyres as drivers begin to struggle with front left graining. Lap 15, Oscar Piastri finally gets past Max Verstappen for 2nd place. Lap 18, Lando Norris finally gets past Lance Stroll for 8th. with 0 pace in his McLaren. And lap 19, Lewis Hamilton gives Ferrari their first ever sprint race victory in Formula One, finishing 6 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen.
With George Russell in the Mercedes coming 4th, Charles Leclerc 5th in the Ferrari, Yuki Tsunoda in the Racing Bull 6th, Kimi Antonelli 7th in the other Mercedes, and Lando Norris rounding out the top 8 in the McLaren. And, we got to have a bit of a mention about Lewis Hamilton in that sprint race. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when he qualified for pole position for the sprint race, even on the radio, they said to him, "Oh, Lewis, you got pole," and he's like, "I did."
Yeah, San Diego, and he laughed. He's like, "Are you kidding me?"
And yeah, and then he won the sprint race. He's just like, "I did it by some miracle."
But he was quick.
Yeah,
6 seconds ahead of Oscar and Max
yeah,
on a track that was eating tyres.
yeah.
You know, but I think McLaren might have got the setup wrong because Lando had no pace.
Yeah,
And
because
it took Oscar an eternity to get past Max.
well, I mean, they only had one real practice session,
Yeah.
so
But that said, they did rectify it between then and qualifying.
I will say, I think that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't mind if they took away one of the practice sessions, just so that you get more of anything can happen.
That is the double-edged sword. I still find sprint races pointless, but I do like the fact that it gives drivers less time to dial in.
Yeah,
And teams, because then you get the varied results.
yeah,
You know, Ferrari won because McLaren got it slightly wrong. But once McLaren got it right, obviously normal order was resumed.
yeah.
But, you know, I mean, I guess the most exciting thing about that race was whose left tyre's going to hold on.
Yeah.
And, you know, kudos to Lewis. He tyre whispered his way to a 6-second win on a Ferrari that is probably the 3rd or 4th fastest car on the grid.
Yeah.
You know, it was good.
So at the end of the China sprint, 10th place in the driver's standing is Hulkenberg on 6th. 9th was Charles Leclerc with 8. 8th place is Lance Stroll with 8, so they're tied. 6th and 7th is Piastri and Hamilton, both tied on 9 points. Albon 5th with 10 points. Kimi Antonelli 4th with 14 points. George Russell in 3rd with 20 points. Max Verstappen in 2nd with 24. And Lando Norris still leading the drivers with 26. Haas is still dead last with Zut, as is Alpine in 9th. The Racing Bulls are at 8 with 3 points. Kick Sauber is 7th with 6 points. Aston Martin is 6th with 8 points. Williams is 5th with 10 points. That's
back.
what we want to see.
No one is upset with Williams scoring points.
No, not at all.
All the neutral fans are like, and shout out to Bernie and Nick, who messaged me this weekend saying, we're new to Formula One because of Drive to Survive.
Yep.
I didn't watch the latest season, but Drive to Survive is the greatest thing Formula One's ever done. Because in the last 3 years, I know at least 5 or 6 people who are hardcore into the sport now.
Like Longhorn.
Like Longhorn, like my mate Dubbo, and like
Yep.
Bernie and Nick this weekend, who made a group chat specifically titled Jono Explains F1 to Bernie and Nick. I explained them the concept of the sprint race, and they both said they like Carlos Sainz, but they cheer Oscar Piastri because he's an Aussie.
If you want to add me to that chat, I don't mind.
Just listen to the podcast, guys.
Yep, that's what we're here for. Also, I think another mate of ours, Mitch, he listens.
Yes.
He listens to the show as well and is into F1 because of.
He sporadically messages me from time to time.
Yeah, same
You know,
here.
asking. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's good for the sport.
that's what they needed.
That's what they needed. That's what they've got. And good on the boys for putting on a show.
And also shout out to another listener of ours named Peggy. She's in Sydney. She listens to us as well because the pen that I do my notes with, she sent it to me.
There you go. You're part of the show, literally.
Yes.
There you go.
Right, in fourth place is Ferrari with 17 points. Third place is Red Bull with 24 points. Second place is Mercedes with 34 points. And first place is McLaren with 35 points. Then we get to the main event.
Yes, the actual Heineken
China.
Grand Prix. And, as I said earlier, normal order was resumed after people got a second chance to tweak their setups after Parc Fermé lifts between the sprint and qualifying. Oscar Piastri starts on pole position alongside George Russell, who did very well in his qualifying lap. Oscar Piastri broke the track record, though, finally. That's gone. Sebastian Vettel's 2018 record has been smashed by about 3 seconds.
Well, didn't Lewis Hamilton break the track record?
He did. Lewis broke the track record in sprint quali, and then later that day, Oscar went and broke it again. Which is crazy to think these cars are actually... And right at the end of the regulations, these cars are fast.
Yeah.
Same in 2021. I'm pretty sure Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes 2021 car holds almost every track record for how fast that car was. So, we've got to the end of the regulations, which shouldn't be ending, honestly.
No, that's right.
And these cars are faster than ever, but anyway. Lando Norris holds off George Russell on the inside of Turn 2 to take second place, as Oscar Piastri clears off into the lead. I will say my notes on this are a bit vague because I lost internet reception halfway through the race and couldn't watch KO. So I was on my phone, I was in-betweening. Instead of sitting there watching it on TV, taking down every note, I was in-betweening it on my phone and writing the document. So big thanks to the Australia's NBN network for letting me down.
Who's your home internet through?
I believe it's Telstra, I'm not sure.
Ah.
But the football was fine, and as soon as it got to about lap 5 or 6 in the race, gone. Could not get it back.
See, I just watched it on Foxtel.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have this problem in Melbourne, but here we are.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc picks up wing damage, but continues on at the risk of increased tyre wear. Lap 4, Fernando Alonso slows in his Aston Martin with brake failure. That's 2 DNFs in 2 races for Fernando. Lap 12, Jack Doohan stops. Ferrari get a new front wing ready for Charles Leclerc. McLaren asks Piastri if he can go long on plan C. Lap 13, Yuki Tsunoda gets ahead of Kimi Antonelli on the undercut. Lap 14, Lewis Hamilton pits along with Max Verstappen for hard tyres. Lap 15, Oscar Piastri pits for hard tyres from the lead of the race. Lap 16, Lando Norris pits as Charles Leclerc comes in as well, but Ferrari opted not to change his front wing. George Russell gets the jump on Lando Norris as Lando is held up by Lance Stroll on the inside of Turn 2. Lap 18, Lando Norris gets past George Russell with the aid of DRS for what would become second place. Lap 31, Liam Lawson pits after being overtaken by Oliver Behrman, so again, not exactly walking the walk there, big man. Lap 38, Lewis Hamilton pits again for a 2-stop gamble with the potential risk of rain coming at the end. Lap 47, Yuki Tsunoda pits for a new front wing after it snapped under load on the front straight, and he bolted on a fresh set of medium tyres. I think it was a used set, actually. Lap 49, Lando Norris tells McLaren that his brake pedal is going long. The team assuring him it isn't due to brake pads or a serious issue. Lap 51, Jack Doohan is handed a 10-second time penalty for forcing a driver off the track. Lap 53, Max Verstappen passes Charles Leclerc for 4th place. Charles unable to fight with worn tyres and he's still damaged front wing. Lap 55, McLaren tell Lando the brake situation has gone critical as he tries to nurse the car home into second place. Lap 56, Oscar Piastri wins the Chinese Grand Prix. From McLaren teammate Lando Norris, George Russell falling just short on chasing down the stricken McLaren for 3rd place.
In 4th place was Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. 5th place was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. 6th place was Lewis Hamilton in the other Ferrari. 7th place was Esteban Ocon in the Haas. 8th place was Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes. 9th place was Alex Albon in the Williams. And 10th place was Ollie Behrman in the Haas.
Double points finish for Haas. Kimi in the points again, Alex in the points again.
And double points finish for Ferrari.
Well, that's to be expected. Probably a little higher up. Probably a little higher up the grid than they finished ultimately.
Look. Since 2019 or 2020, if Ferrari gets a double points finish, it's a celebration because that 2020 car was a shitbox.
Says me, who's just watched my team 1-2 again, which was a dream 5 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago, I was cheering if we even got points.
That was also 10 years ago, wasn't it?
When we would even finish a race.
It was GP2 engine.
And now we're just 1-2ing like it's a normal Sunday drive.
Yeah.
This is the expectation
Just
now.
phoning it in.
This is what it's like to be Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton for the last decade. It's like the expectation is we win races now.
So how good was Oscar Piastri today?
Brilliant. Broke the track record in qualifying and then just flawless drive.
It was flawless victory.
Yeah, it was flawless victory.
You know, for all you Mortal Kombat fans out there, it was flawless victory.
It was brilliant. Good for McLaren, good for Australia. Great for me.
God, you're starting to sound like the 12th man's version of Bill Lawry.
It's a great day for Australia.
Oh,
Great day for the nation.
oh, bloody, the fat man's got him out. Oh, piss off, you're out. Oh, it's a great day for Melbourne, great day for Victoria, great day for Australia, great day for the world. Piss off, you're out.
All of the above. Brilliant drive. Brought it home. Celebrated with my new Oscar Piastri hat.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, key drivers. I haven't put the fucking thing. I'll put the photo up.
The photo will be there for the
Yeah,
video. Again.
The key drivers.
The redo.
The key drivers. For the first key driver, Lando Norris. I mean, able to nurse the car home with a brake pedal that was going all the way to the floor by the last lap.
Yeah, that's the same thing that took Fernando out. So that car probably had another 3 laps in it.
At best.
He was lucky.
Yeah, well, Fernando Alonso had smoke coming off his brakes too.
Yeah, well, Lando just would have run out of brakes. He wouldn't have been able to stop the car at all, which is
Yeah.
way worse.
Yeah.
Especially coming into that hairpin. He was lifting off 300 metres before the corner just to get it stopped.
Yeah.
So, good on him. He made up for yesterday's sprint race kerfuffle.
Because, that could have ended... Who was that? Was it Jamie Whincup at Bathurst? When his team was like, you're running out of petrol, mate. You need to, you need to drive conservatively. So you just drove harder.
Yeah.
And then he was almost out of petrol. Had to back off, and Chaz Mostert won it.
Yes.
That could have been that.
Well, it could have been Sebastian Buemi blowing his brakes off the Toro Rosso in China in practice back in like 2010 or 2012.
Yeah, that could have
Coming
happened.
into that hairpin. That probably went through his mind. It's just like, am I going to do a Buemi here? I'm doing 340 kilometres an hour into this hairpin if the brakes don't work.
I could be in some deep
I don't
poo.
know how good that sand trap is, but we could test the theory.
I think he'd touch the wall.
I think he'd touch the wall. No, good drive. Good drive, controlled, measured.
Yeah.
They'll definitely be looking into what caused that, though.
Yeah.
Luckily, they've got 2 weeks now instead of just the one.
Next key driver, Max Verstappen. Drove a measured race.
Did all he could with what he has.
Yeah.
I think any delusions of the number one staying on the front of that thing is gone.
Yeah.
But champion.
Yeah.
He'll fight to the end.
Yeah. George Russell. He drove well.
Drove very well. Almost got Lando. In much the same way he split the McLarens in qualifying. He back-to-back podiums.
Yeah.
Back-to-back podiums. Back-to-back P3s.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Mercedes obviously isn't as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Next key driver was Charles Leclerc. Driving around with a broken front wing.
Yeah, got it done.
Got points for the team.
Got mugged a little bit, but, was there.
Next key driver was Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
I think he drove really well. He recognised that he was holding up Charles Leclerc, so he got on the blower and said, let him past. But then he wasn't close enough, so the team's sitting there going, well, you have to let him pass. He's like, well, get him up to my gearbox and I'll let him pass, because he's got more pace than me.
Yeah.
The one thing I would have changed about Lewis Hamilton's race is when he did that second pit stop, I would have put the mediums on.
Yeah, I don't think he should have gone hard, but...
No.
But for the amount of graining they all had in that sprint race, I don't know how long... How long was left in the race? Because that sprint race was 19 laps.
It was 19 laps.
And they were all on mediums. I wouldn't have tried that again. With the way his tyres would have looked at the end of the sprint race. To do that again, basically, essentially.
Well, I think I
And that's if he had a set of mediums left, which he may not have.
I think I messaged you saying he needs to do a me in Mexico.
Yeah.
Remember that race we did?
I do.
That was a great one.
I do. You're on my gearbox by the end.
Yeah. I even nearly overtook you with
You did. That was the great chase with about 12 laps to go on that one. Nearly had me.
20-second deficit.
Down to half second. 2 more laps you would have had me.
And you're on the blower going,
He's coming.
how many seconds did you just take out of me there?
It was literally 2 or 3 seconds a lap. It was insane. I'm on my used hard tyres. You've gambled on softs for the last 12 laps.
And I saved a ton of petrol, so everything was on...
Everything's on full ball.
Yeah, it was just...
Well, nearly paid off.
But, I mean, he could have done a similar thing. He could have taken his lead from me.
I don't think he had a new set of mediums left. I think he ran out of tyres. Honestly.
Next key driver was Ocon.
Yeah?
Got in the points.
Got in the points at Haas.
And just kept his nose clean. Kept on chugling.
Yeah. Done well. Is that 2 points finishes now? To start the year for him? Did we say he finished in the points in Melbourne? As we flick all the way back.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. All right.
No, Haas didn't score any points.
And now they got double points finish in this race.
Yeah.
Good on them.
But the final key driver was Ollie Behrman.
Yep. Points.
Yeah, got points.
Point.
Hey,
Pointer.
point is point. But man, he did some good overtakes too. Like he showed he's got a bit of a racing IQ. If he was in a better car, he just needs a bit more experience and a better car, and you've got something there. You've got a diamond in the rough. Him and like Kimi Antonelli's starting to show something as well. So
Kimmy's probably got the talent that, he's transferred it over too.
And he's in the better car as well. He is in the better car.
There's a few guys out there that had talent that haven't transferred it over. Yes, he is. He is in a Mercedes, granted.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of guys who have seemingly run out of talent.
Do we have the helmet drivers list?
We have the helmet drivers list. First one, Jack Doohan. For getting a 10-second penalty.
At the end of the race.
At the end of the race, and still managed to hold off Isaac Hadjar.
But he got the 10-second penalty.
He got the 10-second penalty for pushing him off the track.
You're already under pressure for your seat.
Yeah.
It's probably not the smartest thing to do, but, mistakes happen in races.
Yeah. Gabriel Bortoletto. Because he spun out, like lap 2, he spun out on turn 1.
Yeah.
Like, that's a rookie mistake.
Yeah, for all the talent for the defending Formula 2 world champion, it's probably not what you want to see.
Yeah.
But, again, they'll learn. They have to learn, or they get cut. That's what this sport is.
Well, speaking of getting cut and running out of talent, third driver on the list is Liam Lawson again.
Running out of time.
Talent, time, excuses.
His quote, I need time and I don't have time. Correct, you don't have time.
No. And not with helmet marker
Red
looming
Bull
over your
are
head.
Probably the most impatient team when it comes to rookies.
Yeah.
When it comes to their junior system, they are the most impatient on the
And
grid.
we had this chat last night when we were catching up at sales. It's almost like Red Bull's just backing anyone. Like every dog in the fight.
They've backed the wrong horse. Whatever excuse they had for Yuki Tsunoda not being in that seat, you just need to bite the bullet and admit you were wrong.
Yeah, because, Tsunoda is outdoing...
Tsunoda out-qualified, the Red Bulls themselves in Melbourne. Was a chance where in practice, I think they were faster than the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
And then, Hadjar's right up there too.
Yeah.
So whatever,
Yeah.
behavioural, sweary excuse that you've got for Sonoda that how he's not the right fit for the car, it's probably time to backtrack on it.
Yeah.
Because Liam Lawson, as I said, he's halfway through the book of excuses already, and we're 2 weeks away from race 3. The tyres are overpressured, this, that, the other. Tailwind, yada, yada, yada.
Well, hang on to this. We'll just pick who's going to be the helmet driver. It's going to be Liam Lawson.
We're already talking about him.
Yeah, okay. Because...
We're already talking about him.
Okay, right. So, he's helmet driver. Right. First news item is the Liam Lawson problem.
There is a rumour already that Yuki Tsunoda could be driving a Red Bull at Suzuka.
What I don't understand is, right, last year at the Racing Bulls, they had Danny Rick, Yuki Tsunoda. They knew they were going to get rid of Sergio Perez because he was misfiring. So they knew they were going to bin him off. They could have brought in Liam Lawson when they did and put Danny Rick in the main seat, because I think he might have actually turned it around. Or keep Danny Rick on the sideline, promote Yuki Tsunoda, and have Danny Rick and Liam Lawson, because I think Liam Lawson needed more time in the oven.
Yeah, they promoted him too quick.
They promoted him too quick. Clearly, they've got some kind of issue with Yuki Tsunoda.
Yep.
And they binned off Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep.
And then they've put Isaac Hadjar in there, and he's doing okay. But I mean,
he's not ready either.
He's, he was brought up out of sympathy because they were, they binned off Rick.
That's
Danny
all they
Rick.
had left. Isaac Hadjar was the best of the rest.
Yeah.
And good on him. He's shown it a little bit this week.
Yeah, but he's not world champion material.
No.
He's never going to get into that main seat.
It's Max Verstappen and no one else.
Yeah.
You fuck the second car off.
Yeah.
Just run with one car.
Yeah.
Put all your money and resources into one car, become a one-car team.
And have the other car be the third Racing Bull.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Just use it as a test car.
Because honestly, Liam Lawson...
What's the fucking point with any of Max's...
Yeah.
It can't be Sergio, it can't be Ricciardo, and it sure as hell ain't Liam, and you don't want it to be Yuki. And it can't be Isaac.
And then there's rumours going around that Max Verstappen might be walking out of his Red Bull contract and walking straight into Aston Martin next year. Or he might be going to Mercedes.
That would be formidable. Who do you get rid of at Mercedes? George Russell, you can't demote Kimi the way he's been driving. But George Russell's... I think it'll be Aston. Well, Fernando will go and Max will go there. And he's going to have even more of a spastic of a team. No, he won't. Because Lance Stroll is a better driver than Liam Lawson.
Yeah.
At the moment.
And he'll have Honda-backed engines and Adrian Newey.
I can't even shit on Lance. He's double points finished the start of the year.
He's still better than Liam Lawson.
Yep.
And if Max goes to Aston Martin, it's the Red Bull trio reuniting.
And who do you...
Max, Honda, and Adrian Newey.
So what do you do then? Do you have to promote Isaac and Yuki to the top team? Because you've got no one.
They'll have to buy someone
out of their
contract.
They're going to have to buy Fernando Alonso, who's 900 years old and past his prime.
You know what?
He spun out in the rain, which is something he never does.
You know what I reckon,
though? He crashed in Melbourne and he was unlucky with the brakes here.
Yeah, look, Fernando Alonso needs to call it a fucking day.
If this isn't the season he calls it a day, it fucking should be.
Yeah, but he's under contract until the end of next year. He needs to call it now. He needs to end it now.
It's just like, what do Red Bull do next year if Max goes? Because they can't keep Liam. It's got to be Yuki, doesn't it?
Oh, I think that they would try and buy either George Russell or Charles Leclerc out of their contracts and get them to jump ship.
But both of them are driving better cars.
Yeah.
You would have to pay substantial overs.
Yeah.
Who would you even go for?
Because, I mean, you wouldn't put And only
It's crazy that the the three-time constructors, four-time world drivers champion team has just gone to shit in 12 months to the point where their main drivers wanting to leave and their backup drivers worse than Lance Stroll.
yeah. I mean,
To the point where I don't even think drivers in other teams above them would even consider going there.
oh look, I don't think even Alex Albon would ditch Williams to go there.
Like, you would have to Ocon, Gasly
Wouldn't go back.
wouldn't go back. You know,
Ocon wouldn't go
you
back.
burnt that bridge. Carlos Sainz obviously isn't going back.
What do? Crack out Sebastian Vettel out of retirement?
Yeah, what do you do? Like, who would go? Like, no one in, the McLaren drivers are locked in, the Ferrari drivers are locked in, the Mercedes drivers are locked in. No one below, well, no one above Red Bull's obviously going to go there. No one below Red Bull would really go there unless they're desperate. Unless you want to get Valtteri Bottas or...
But I don't think he would go.
Exactly. Or you want to buy, like...
Carlos Sainz wouldn't go back.
Yeah.
Not with the progress that Williams have made.
Yep. And he's a big part of that.
Yeah, him and Albon. What do you? I mean, what do you throw money at Logan Sargent? It can't be any worse than Liam Lawson.
Get on your fucking knees and see if Daniel Ricciardo wants to come back.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah, I can't believe the team's in as much turmoil as it is, but they brought it on themselves.
Yeah, well,
They always do.
Yeah, they cut their nose off to spite their face.
They've
Really?
tailored everything to Max Verstappen, and if he goes,
Oh, look,
every resource,
It's
the entire package of that car is tailored to Max.
yeah,
No one else can drive it like Max can.
yeah.
So you're going to have two guys in there with a car that they can't drive.
And
It's just
Perez won't go back because
Perez
of,
won't go back. He
Oh,
got scorned.
yeah.
Ricardo probably won't go back because he probably feels a little bit scorned.
Oh, look, I reckon Ricardo would go back because it'd be his last chance.
Who's their reserve driver?
Fucking Isaac Hadjar and Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, get Brendan Hartley back.
It's a shit.
No, you know what? They got to get the greatest driver that ever greatested. Scott Speed.
Can he even still walk? Scott Speed and David Coulthard. Come on back,
Yeah,
boys.
Mark Webber.
Yeah, Mark Webber might give it one more shot.
Christian Klein.
Oh, yeah, Sebastian Buemi's still kicking around somewhere.
I'm amazed they didn't try and get Sebastian Bourdais or something from a completely different discipline. You know,
Maybe they just throw money at, like, Pato Award or something.
Helmut Marko running around going, yeah, we just signed Colin McRae.
Who's that NASCAR driver that thinks he's better than Max?
Oh.
Jimmy Johnson?
Oh, God, yeah. Something
Throw
like
money
that.
at him. Put your money where your mouth
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that's
You think
right.
you could drive a Chevy in a fucking circle? You think you're better than Max? Go on, then.
Come on, fuckface, see what you
Fucking
can do.
prove it. Fucking prove it.
Yeah, they might have to start dipping into IndyCar.
Honestly,
Try and buy out like a Scotty McLaughlin or something.
someone. A Pillow or a Newgarden or someone. That might be their only option.
Newgarden used to be part of the Red Bull system.
Yeah, he's with Penske now, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They should get Joe Tanto. Bo Brandenburg and Jimmy Bly. He can flip coins and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
have a car do like a spiral flip and end up upside down in a lake.
We'll rewatch that movie again. It's been,
There it is right there.
there it is on top of the pile. We'll subject ourselves to that shit show again. In much the way Red Bull's a shit show at the moment, so's that movie.
Yeah. What a mess. I don't think they'd buy Zhou Guan Yu out of his contract. Because Zhou Guan Yu's test reserve driver for Ferrari.
Yeah. You can't even go with like Bortoletto or anyone like that. Because
Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, K-Mag's sitting there doing nothing. It might have to
Or
be K-Mag.
Grosjean.
Holy.
There's a blast from the past.
Grosjean and Magnussen in Red Bulls. You're the new Haas. What a kick in the face that would be. I was about to say, you couldn't even get Bortoletto or anyone like that because Audi's taking that team over next year.
Yeah.
And Audi's probably going to straight up challenge Red Bull, so it's dark days.
Well, I mean, Drogovic is doing fuck all.
Yeah?
He's the reserve driver at Aston Martin.
Yeah, you could probably get Felipe Drogovic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Just get one of the girls from Formula Academy.
yeah, they want to prove themselves so much. Just,
Yeah. Get Abby Pulling, last year's champion.
I can't believe they're driving ever.
Did you see what...
Have they been promoted anywhere? Like Formula Academy, they're driving Formula 4 cars, but then you don't see them in Formula 3.
No, I think they go to endurance.
And then you don't see them in Formula 2, so what's the step there?
And Abby Pulling, like, she was last year's champion. She was part of the
Alpine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's not with Alpine anymore. She terminated her agreement with them.
So there's no pathway from Academy to
Yeah.
Formula 3 even.
Yeah.
Like, go up against junior boys.
And it was funny because last night I was reading a thing where like Bernie Collins, the analyst chick, was saying that girls need to get into karting sooner, when they're younger, so that they're prepared for Formula Academy and actually have a better shot at getting into F3 and F2. And Danica Patrick was just like, oh no, they should just be given a shot in F3 and F2 irregardless. It's like, shut up, Danica Patrick.
Maybe that for there to at least show progression, surely the Formula Academy champion can get a spot
in an
on
F3
the Formula 3 car against junior boys to at least be on that level.
And see, the girls have got an advantage if they make it into F3. This is going to come across as really sexist. Oh, I mean, she just bang them and use that so that she can get further up the grid.
It's not Hollywood.
No, but
No, I just think,
I mean, it works for
because
it works in the women's soccer, doesn't it?
No, have you seen the Matildas lately? They're shit.
I'm not talking about the Matildas. I'm talking more like the women's Premier League.
Yeah, sure. How else they get sponsorship deals? See, now
With
you got another train.
OnlyFans.
There you go. There's your next career option.
It works for Renee Gracie.
It did work for Renee Gracie. Yeah, it's just like you need to show progression from there, or else the series is pointless.
Yeah,
You've got a bunch of women driving around in F4 cars, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think that if they manage to get rid of Mohammed Ben Sulayem and, say, Susie Wolf takes over as the president of the FIA, I think you might actually have a chance of more women's progression in the sport. But at the moment, it's a redundant series that looks just completely fucking pointless.
It's just there for, nothing more than exposure.
Yeah.
Really.
It's really there because they managed to sign Ken Block's daughter.
Yeah,
Leah.
Who isn't exactly a Kimi Antonelli.
No.
Like, the reason a woman is never going to drive an F1 car is because of physicality.
Yeah.
Like 8G, 7G.
I mean, if you put someone like a WWE wrestler like Jordan Grace or Rhea Ripley in the car, they'd be able to take it because
for a little while.
Yeah. But I mean, they'd be able to take it a lot more than the current crop of girls that are all...
But they need to get to that level.
Yeah.
And the only way they're going to get to that level is getting progressively faster cars.
Yeah.
And as fast as a hypercar is, I actually don't think many women are driving in the hypercar series in World Endurance. I think it's more the GT series, the Porsches and stuff.
Yeah.
You're not pulling... Like, did you watch the Formula Academy race? How slow did those cars look?
Oh, yeah.
They're topping out at 280 k's an hour.
Is that all?
Yeah. They're not even cracking 300.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've got more respect for...
They're as fast as a V8 supercar, really.
I've got more respect for Renee Gracie now. At least she drove around Bathurst for a couple of laps.
Yeah. But then you progress to the next step, which is Formula 3. It's faster in a straight line, it's faster in the corners. Build your strength up. see if you can handle a Formula 2 car.
But the thing is, the F2 and F3 cars don't have power steering. And that's the logic behind a lot of the teams why they won't sign anyone from Formula Academy to go into F2 or F3 is because they don't have power steering, so the girls can't actually turn the steering wheel. Well, there's an easy way to fix that. It's called put fucking power steering in the fucking cars.
Maybe.
You want these... It's the same with the F2 and F3 drivers, though. You want them to get to F1. You've got to put the bits in there so that they can find their ass with two hands and a compass by the time they get to F1.
Yeah, because the ones that do are either woefully underprepared or they're not. You know, you get your...
Yeah,
you get the ones that do. You get your George Russells and your Max Verstappens and even your Kimi Antonellis.
Yeah, and your Ollie Behrmans.
But then you also get
your
Logan
Isaac
Sargents
Hadjar.
and your
Isaac Hadjar.
Hadjar Piastri, yeah. But you also get your Logan Sargents and your Liam Lawsons and your
Latifis. Your Lance Strolls.
There's a lot of drivers out there. Your Bortolettos at the moment as well. Even as awesome as Bortoletto was last year in Formula 2, he is struggling in Formula 1 at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's because there's just no consistent pathways.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard enough going from Formula 3 to Formula 2 to Formula 1, let alone Formula Academy to even Formula 3. Like, they can't even make that initial step. It's hard enough for the boys, for the men. You know, the women, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So... there's that.
All right. Sadly, our next news item, and I purposely put this one last, is unfortunately Eddie Jordan has passed away from cancer. He had prostate cancer.
Yeah, 76, I believe he was. We did break that, I think, before Christmas, that he was struggling.
Yeah.
And Karun Chandok was actually the first one that broke that. Before even Sky Sports or anyone, so
he was the last of the old school garage Easters.
I think Toto Wolff called him the last of the gangsters.
Yeah, because it was him and Frank Williams and probably Ron Dennis. And he sold the team at the end of 2003 to it became Midland. Then it became Spiker. Then it became Midland. Then it became Force India. Then Racing Point, and is now Aston Martin.
Yeah, and good touch by Aston Martin this weekend, putting the Shamrock on the side of the car.
Yeah, but the was it a Shamrock or a 4-leaf clover? 3-leaf clover.
I think it might have been
it was a 3-leaf
They
clover.
called it a Shamrock on the broadcast, but I think it was a clover.
But they replaced the top with a love heart.
Yeah, nice touch.
Okay.
Nice touch. I mean, for the man that gave Michael Schumacher his shot.
Schumacher, Ralph Schumacher, gave Damon Hill his last win. Heinz Harald Frentzen his last win. Giancarlo Fisichella, I think, got a win. Got the last win for the team. So, and he always had those amazing paint jobs on his cars, like the Buzzin' Hornets. There was the Snake, the Buzzin' Hornet. Like it was.
You could tell it was a Jordan.
Yeah,
you could always tell it was a Jordan.
And like when they won at Spa '98.
Oh yeah.
And he was skipping like an Irish clown, and
he was very, very passionate.
Jordan was the team, like Williams, that you rooted for because they were the underdog.
Yeah.
You wanted them to succeed just purely out of you just wanted to see it.
Yeah.
So, I suppose Eddie Jordan, when he announced that he had prostate and bowel, I think it was prostate and bowel cancer, which is also what my dad had, and he put out a message when he announced it saying, guys, get yourself checked out, don't be afraid of it. So I suppose it's rightfully our sort of position where we should actually say, guys, go out there and get yourself checked.
If you're at that age.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only 5 years away from it, so...
Unfortunately, I've got to start going and get myself checked.
Yeah. I mean, it's just... it is what it is. We don't like, doctors. I personally don't like doctors. I went to mine for the first time in forever and got a blood test in the first time since I was a teenager, and the results were what I expected, but,
This will probably be an overshare, but a couple of years ago I had to go with my now ex-girlfriend. Bitch. And I had an issue with one of my nuts, actually. So I had to actually have my number 2 GP, because my number 1 GP was booked out. So my number 2 GP had to sit there and sort of rumble around the garbage bag.
Do a lap of the circuit.
Yeah, he had a bit of a grab of the garbage bag, and then I had to get some girl had to give me a scan of the same area.
That's awkward.
The poor girl, like, she's there and she's like, I've got to do this, and she had the cold.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I apologised to her straight up. I'm like, if anything moves down there that for the wrong reasons, I'm apologising in advance. And she's like, it's okay. Like, I've had people, it's happened, but it didn't happen. But it's one of those awkward things. But
it is. But you know what we're like. We always don't prioritise our own health until it's too late, or
that's right,
or getting too late.
And the second thing too, because this is what happened with my dad, was he went and had his prostate looked at, and his GP, his old GP, because his old GP retired at the end of the year. His old GP had his, went up there and had a look around, and he said, "Oh, you've just got an enlarged prostate." And he still didn't feel right about it. And so then after his GP retired, he went to a second GP at the same clinic. And he went up there and he's just like, "No, you've got cancer, mate. Like, we got to do something."
Yeah.
So if there's nothing wrong with also getting a second opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Just rule it out, but make sure you get yourself checked out.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We were literally talking about it at work the other day. It's like, we're getting to the stage we're going to have to, after, my blood test came back and, blood sugar's a little high. Liver function's a little high because I drink a little bit too much, so...
Oh, did they find too much blood in your alcohol system,
did
they?
Yeah, they did. They said, I need to find more blood in your alcohol system next time. And you should probably, clean your diet up a little bit, big boy.
So what did you do on Friday night?
Got absolutely written off. And then came and had a couple of you. I hope Mum doesn't listen to this episode. She'll murder me, so it's okay.
See, at least my mum's not smart enough to listen to this show, because she's like, it's F1, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's literally the one complaint. It's like, I love your podcast, but I don't understand what's going on.
But also my mum's like, how does podcasting work anyway? So
that's it.
Yeah, my mum's technologically hilted. But speaking of technologically hilted, it's time for the drivers' standings.
After China.
China.
The current ones.
So I was getting a little bit ahead of myself there. I forgot all about this bit. So in 10th place in the drivers' standings is Esteban Ocon in 6th place.
6 points.
That's, that guy.
Gotcha.
9th place is Lance Stroll with 8 points. 8th place is Albon with 12 points. 7th place is Hamilton with 17 points. 6th place is Charles Leclerc with 18 points. And he is tied with Kimi Antonelli, who's in 5th with 18 points. 4th place is Piastri with 34 points. 3rd place is George Russell with 35 points. Max Verstappen is in 2nd with 36 points. And Lando Norris leading the championship with 44 points. The Constructors in 10th place with 0 points is Alpine. 9th place is the Racing Bulls with 3 points. 8th place is Sauber with 6 points. 7th place is Haas with 7 points. 6th place is Aston Martin with 8 points. Fifth place, still in fifth place, Williams with 12 points. Fourth place is Ferrari with 35 points. Third place is Red Bull with 36 points. Second place is Mercedes with 53. And leading the constructors is McLaren with 78 points. Hi folks, Phil just dropping in here. About 2 hours after this episode was recorded, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly were all disqualified for various infringements and fuel irregularities. So then the top 10 was actually changed to Oscar Piastri still won the race ahead of Lando Norris. George Russell was in third. Max Verstappen finished fourth. Ocon got elevated to fifth. Kimi Antonelli sixth. Albon got elevated to seventh. Oliver Baumann got elevated to eighth. Lance Stroll got elevated to ninth. And Carlos Sainz got up to 10th. It also means the drivers' standings have changed as well, with Lando Norris still in the lead with 44 points, ahead of Max Verstappen on 36, George Russell on 35, Oscar Piastri in fourth with 34, Kimi Antonelli in fifth with 22, Alexander Albon in sixth with 16 points, Esteban Ocon in seventh with 10 points, eighth place is Lance Stroll with 10 points as well, Lewis Hamilton in ninth with 9 points, and Charles Leclerc in 10th with 8 points. And the team standings, McLaren is still ahead with 78 points, Mercedes is in second with 57 points, third place is Red Bull Racing with 36 points, fourth now is Williams with 17 points, and they are tied with Ferrari, who are also on 17 points. Haas is in sixth with 14 points, Aston Martin is in seventh with 10 points, Sauber is in eighth place with 6 points, Racing Bull have 3 points in ninth, and Alpine have 0 points still. So now we get to do the socials. So on YouTube, you can watch us on YouTube on the F1 Chat Care of Vindicator 18 channel, and it is a dedicated playlist now.
That's good.
So that's a very happy
All there
place.
in one place, everyone we've ever done.
YouTube, we're also on the F1 Chat -1, which is a dedicated channel. Facebook, you can interact with us on there, on the F1 Chat. You can interact with us on X, the F1 Chat 1. Don't forget the 1.
Correct.
Rumble, the F1 Chat, and Spotify, the F1 Chat.
That's it.
That is it.
That's it. 2 races down, and we've hit the ground running in McLaren land.
You know what we really need right now?
Oh, I'm a bit thirsty. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that'll get us flagged on YouTube for promoting a beer, but we don't get paid, so fuck you.
And we can't even buy the beer here, so...
Exactly. So what are you complaining about?
Exactly. Well, I'm complaining about I'll never know what it tastes like, despite having the single best advertising campaign I've ever seen from anything ever.
I just love how they hijacked Star Wars by putting that stuff in.
Yep.
Your father would have wanted this when you were old enough. He pulls the beer out.
If you don't know what we're on about, YouTube, Cerveza Crystal Star Wars. And it's a real thing. It's not fake. People think it's fake. It's real. That they've integrated an ad for their beer into the movie.
I actually...
to avoid having to put an actual commercial break in the movie.
It was a challenge from you. So I took Liam Lawson's interview yesterday from qualifying, where he's like, "Oh, I just don't have the feeling yet," and the interviewer's like, "What are the feeling you talk about? What is it?" And I took one of the, I think it's from when Obi-Wan deactivates the tractor beam, and then he's climbing back around. He reaches into a fridge and pulls out a beer. And I chopped it up so that it's, what is it? And then put that.
What is the feeling? It's Cerveza Crystal.
You know, so that was a nice little challenge. And I've said it to a few people. My mate Dane, who is not an F1 fan, And he was watching it go, what the hell is this? Then that came up and he's just like, oh, this is brilliant.
Yes, it was very well done. Yeah, by respect, that was very well done. That's exactly what we needed.
Also did one with Lance Stroll beaching it.
Yes.
He beached it and then it was the same clip.
It's very good. It's very well done.
All right. So we're going to be back in about 2 weeks.
Yes, for the Japanese Grand Prix. Although I'll be in Sydney, so I may not see the race.
Oh.
I don't know how I'm going to do that because I'm going to be away. Basically, into the whole time the Japanese Grand Prix is on, I'm going to be in Sydney.
So you might have to sit out next episode, and I might have to phone in Longhorn and just go, bro, you need it. I can't do this by myself.
You may need to because I may genuinely not see the race. I may genuinely, because I'm back Monday afternoon, and then I'm going to site Tuesday afternoon back to work. So I'm going to have no time to do the potty. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We always, if Brody's available, sweet. If we have to do another double episode, sweet.
Yep.
But we're like a cockroach. You can't kill us. We'll find a way.
So, as Logan Sargent would say, see you in Suzuki, boys.
See you in Suzuki, boys. We'll be back.
Hopefully in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in. Until then, it is goodbye.
Shouldn't be an issue, so I just need to get on top of it.
What do you need to get on top of? What's the feeling? Is it?
Cerveza cristal, cerveza